Good evening, Wassalam. My name is Abbas Milani, and let me begin by offering my sincere apologies for not being with you there tonight. In spite of much effort by the organizers and myself, we simply could not find flights that would allow me to be there and back here on time for my other engagements. I stand here as a repentant and resolute Iranian. Repentant for what has been our society's tortured and tormenting treatment of our Baha'i fellow countrymen. Repentant for our complicity of silence for more than a century of injustice against them. Repentant for abuse against Iranians whose only so-called indiscretion has been their desire to worship their own faith in the privacy of their own homes. To the purveyors of hate and intolerance, it has mattered little that the message of the Baha'is has been one of peace, equality, and tolerance. Those who traffic in dogma and bank on their own self-appointed role as the sole gateway to God and godliness cannot easily tolerate the religion that affords every individual a chance to navigate her or his own way to the divine and to the sublime. But repentance becomes acceptance of the status quo unless it is accompanied with a call to action. And thus, I stand here resolute with you and all the Baha'is of Iran in and out of prison and all the Baha'is around the world to say, never again, never in our name, never in the name of Iran. I think I speak for a growing number of people when I say every injustice against the Baha'i in Iran is an injustice against every Iranian everywhere. Iran's tormented and tortured relations with the Baha'is is evident in the society's duplicitous disposition towards Qurratu'l Ayn. Her poetry is read and recited by many. Her words are turned into popular songs, yet her identity as the poet, and even more, her faith, is conveniently overlooked. The fact that she was a harbinger of women's rights in Iran, the fact that a full century before Qamar's storied and rightfully acclaimed concert in Tehran, where she appeared without a veil, Qurratu'l Ayn delivered the lecture unveiled. The fact that concurrent with Western feminist advocacy of dignity and equality for women, Qurratu'l Ayn took her iconoclastic steps in Iran are all overlooked. The fact that Bahaiyyieh Nakhjavani's brilliant and erudite historical novel about the life of Qurratu'l Ayn has yet to be published in Persian or English is a tragic reminder of this sad and selective amnesia. It is a stark reminder of our culture's occasional failure to celebrate and appreciate our singular icons of progress. This duplicity has been evident in other domains as well. Whether it is the grace and elegance of a Shahyad monument, or the wonders of television and the tantalizing taste of Pepsi, whether it is the remarkable success of the Aj brothers in growing Iran's home appliance industry, or the experienced advice of Dr. Rassekh, a pioneer of family and child psychology in Iran, the fruits of these pioneers' works have been enjoyed, but never a mention is made of their innovators' religious affinities. On the other hand, every indiscretion of a Baha'i businessman or a banker is criticized by first underscoring his or her religion. For more than a century now, the Baha'is have been the bane of Shiism. The roots of this rancor are not hard to fathom. The Baha'i message of peace, its promise of gender equality, its almost Jeffersonian devotion to the principle that in matters of faith there must be neither coercion nor acceptance by happenstance of birth, all stand in sharp contrast to those advocating a dogmatic rendition of Islam, one that considers conversion away from Islam a capital crime, one that propagates misogynist laws and creates a virtual gender apartheid in Iran. In the grand vista of history, the Bahá'í Faith is a harbinger of modernity and religious reformation. A reformation wherein faith is a private matter between man and woman, and their own notions of the sacred. Advocates of this traditional dogmatic Islam have, on the other hand, been for more than a century the last bastion of reactionary demodernization in Iran. Cultures and societies, no less than individuals, are differentiated by how they reckon with what is shameful in their past. Some prefer the false comfort of ignorance. Others remain stubbornly obdurate about even accepting that there is something shameful in their past. And still a third group continue the very practices that have necessitated repentance in the first place. Democratic societies, like healthy individuals, perpetually and critically contemplate their past and their present behavior, uncover dark moments of injustice or inequity, and move to ameliorate, amend, or end them. For Iran, the treatment of the Baha'is in the last 150 years has become an embarrassing blot of shame on our history. Qajar kings reveled in torturing the first generation of converts to Báb. Amir Kabir, the enlightened reformer who spoke of the need to bring the rule of law and end despotism in Iran, behaved himself with the brutality of an Oriental despot when it came to the treatment of converts to the new faith. Even during the 37-year rule of Muhammad Reza Shah, when Baha'is were afforded a semblance of equality, not only were they, along with Jews, Christians, and Zoroastrians, barred from holding high office, but fear of persecution at the hands of a local reactionary clergy or even the central government always lurked on the horizon. When, for example, Ayatollah Burujerdi in 1955 had passed, there was, we now know, a sinister force that had begun its work and whose sole reason for existence was the harassment of the Baha'i circles in Iran. It was a nefarious group of Shiite zealots that had come into existence and called themselves Hujjatiyyeh. Their sole mission in life was parlaying their members' fervent devotion to the 12th Imam into a ruthless obsession against the Baha'is. The Hujjatiyyeh zealots went so far as to infiltrate Baha'i circles, only to learn the identities of their members. What began as an attempt to spy on the Baha'is became a merciless tool of persecution against them in the aftermath of the 1979 revolution. The knowledge the group had unscrupulously gathered in the 60s and 70s was used to persecute Baha'is, in a practice reminiscent of the worst days of the medieval Inquisition, when the religious others were given a choice to either convert or lose life and property. In the days after the 1979 revolution, innocent Baha'i citizens of Iran too were forced to make similar heart-wrenching choices. Thousands lost their pensions and properties. If in 1979 Hujjatiyyeh was an eccentric group of little national political influence, today they are clearly the most powerful political group in the current regime. No wonder then that today 7 of the leaders of the Baha'i community are in prison, and pressure on other members of the faith has been increasing. Iran cannot be a democracy unless and until the Baha'is are considered full citizens of the country, and their faith, like those of Zoroastrians, Jews, Christians, Muslims, or for that matter, any faith, belief, or even unbelief, is recognized as a private matter where the state, social and political institutions, and actors have no right of inquiry, interference, or harassment. Let this evening then be the beginning of a new national covenant. Never again, never more, never in the name of Iran. Thank you.